I'm Gorgone. I'm the singer and bass player. I like long walks on the beach, holding hands, soft music on a Sunday afternoon. Yeah.
Well, I'm Gorgone, and I enjoy casual sex and Slayer.
And I'm Al Gorgone. I bang things and call it drum playing, and I like banging things and calling it drum playing.
So then, how exactly did the band kind of come together there? Was it...
Actually, Al and I here both are lucky enough to do shows at CJSR. 88.5 FM, as far left as your FM dial goes in Edmonton. Met working together on Rise Up Radio, which is an alternative political news program. Yeah, so getting together on there, we hung out a lot, actually, for about 6 months, became really good buddies, but didn't realize that we both were musicians as well, and both have been playing since
Well, we
high school,
actually
really.
did. We both knew that we were bass players, but one particular night we were at a pub on campus, and I let it known that I played the drums. He's like, "Why the hell didn't you tell me you played the drums?"
So up until that point, you were kind of like an in-the-closet drummer?
It's hard to drum in a closet. It's really, unless it's a walk-in.
That's what I hear.
You can make it
Cocktail
work.
kit.
Depends on the size of the closet too, right? I mean, if it's one of those giant walk-in ones, then
P. Diddy style.
that's
Okay,
good.
so you came out of the drumming closet, and you were like, hey, I slap skins occasionally.
I'm pretty sure he's never said that.
Oh, boy.
I wouldn't have started a band with him if he had. But yeah, anyway, we just got together. We took advantage of the Musicians Club. I don't want to say we took advantage of them. Yeah, we just joined up with them, and the great thing is just having access to a jam space. For people who live in apartments, you can't start a rock and roll band in your living room. So that gave us the venue that we needed, and access to equipment and stuff we didn't have at the time to really get us going. And for about the first year of this band, year and a half, that's what kept us going.
And how important is like venues like that, like the music union at the U of A are kind of giving?
I think, you know what, there has to be somewhere to start. The one thing about Edmonton, it's a great place because there's tons of places to play. They're hard to get into. You got to hammer away at them, and it's almost like you need a reference letter from your mom and 10 people to say you're cool to get in the door of a lot of places.
Yeah.
So as a new band starting out, having somewhere to just sort of get warmed up, and
when you don't know anybody.
To start getting experience was
then
vital.
On the scene, and you play with like a lot of, I guess, like of the upcoming bands, and you yourself are upcoming band. But where do you transition from being that new band where you're like, oh, we want to play shows, but how do we do this, to like where you guys are?
I think when it only takes one phone call or email to get a show, as opposed to, hey, did you get my email? Hey, I haven't heard back from you, right? I mean,
I also think that you need to record some of your stuff and put it online, so people can hear it.
Yeah.
And then bands like us, I mean, we book a lot of our own shows because Alex hustles around and gets us these gigs, so we actually put other bands on our bill, right? So if you got good stuff online, we check it out, we think you're an awesome band, we'll get you to come out.
Well, and how important is for like someone to be taking that figure in a band? Because there's a lot of bands that are good, but they're kind of lazy.
Mm-hmm. I don't think there's any other way you can get yourself shows, because really, why does a venue have to take a flyer on you? Like, who the hell are you?
Yeah,
right? I mean, you're just some nobody who thinks they got a decent band. These venues, they got to make their money, right? So I think that you gotta be your own booking agent. You gotta sell yourself out there, otherwise no one will do it for you.
Now, just with labels, because like the big thing in the media right now is that the music industry's dead. It's dying.
Better
Now,
than it's
is that
ever been.
Is that kind of true, or
Not at all. Honestly, it's better for a band like Gorgone Horde. It's better than it's ever been.
Oh, absolutely.
If this was, I'll tell you what, we've all been playing music since we're in high school. If we had started this band 15 years ago, we would have been trying to rent a 4-track and recording a cassette tape in our basement, which would have sounded like junk.
Yeah.
And we would have been desperately trying to get someone to listen to it, and be hustling around on the telephone trying to book shows.
Absolutely.
Or writing letters. I can
all
remember
that stuff we actually did.
We did when we were
Okay.
15. We'd be going through book your own fucking life and trying to write people postcards to ask for shows,
Handbills.
Yeah. And now, we can promote everything we do online. If you see our poster, you can, within 5 seconds, you can be listening to one of our songs.
Yeah.
And you know exactly what we're all about. You watch a video of us doing a live show. You can see everyone we've played with. and all of that's instantly available. And for us, I think having people listen to our music is more important than having people pay us for our music.
There's a couple things you brought up. Like, it sounds that you guys are combining like the internet, the social networking, along with traditional forms of promoting shows. Like, is that like important? Can you just do the one and not do the other?
Well, I think you got to do both. The problem with the whole social media thing is just like anything else. Whether you talk about any kind of organizing, is that it can't replace door knocking. It can't replace face-to-face communication.
Yeah.
I think I'm seeing a lot of bands that are really only doing like online stuff, which I think is probably hurting them.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah, I don't think it's helping them, because like what I've been finding with Facebook is like a band creates an event and it's like 200 people like, yeah, I'm coming to your show, and then you get there and there's maybe 20 people.
Well, that's
right?
useful for the people that you actually know.
Yeah.
But as far as booking the gig, the online stuff is because it's so easy to just ignore an email, like you just said.
Yeah.
Well, and this is how you build the personal connections, is not through email, right? I mean, this is how, if you get your foot in the door, you do a good show, and somebody's met you, they can put a face to the name, then, you've done half your work already for the next show.
And how do you find, like, people receive that? Like, you walking into a new city and be like, I want a show! Like, are, like, the booking agents, like, willing to take some time to meet with the bands that are coming up, or is it...
Well, I kind of look at it the same way. I think I was unemployed for a while, and that's kind of how you get yourself back into the job market.
Yeah.
So you get off the couch and you go out and you door knock, you pound the pavement. It's kind of the same thing for a band, right? You just kind of go in, and if they laugh you out of there, well, then you fuck them, right? You have no skin off your nose. There's other opportunities for you to go, but it's all about just getting over that initial nervousness that you may have. But once you do it a couple of times, it almost becomes second nature.
Well, yeah, being able to like pick yourself up and do one of those.
I think it's important to be appreciative to the management too. I think that's made a difference for us. We come in, we play, we don't cause any problems, we bring people in, we're very appreciative, and we go.
Yeah.
So they seem to really like that.
Yeah, you're not there smashing bottles. And...
Well, we try to be somewhat professional.
Another good reason we weren't in this band 12 years ago. at 20, this would have been a much worse band.
Yeah. Thanks for the show, bitches!
You're all a bunch of fucking guns!
I have to say, we tried that approach early on, and we found it wasn't super successful.
And how was that received? Because I know, like, that kind of anger... and getting the audience route.
Well, there is a venue that we won't name that won't have us back because we were, I guess to say, a little more crusty in the approach, and it didn't go over well. We were making fun of ourselves just as much as we were making fun of the venue, but the venue staff took it a little too personal.
I think one of the things our show is known for is we do a lot of interaction with the audience, and there's a lot of show going on, right? And sometimes when you get really into that, you get this weird kind of vibe off the audience, and it gets into this little bit of like a contest that, I'm trying to tone it down, guys. I promise I'll be good tonight.
I understand when you start seeing the demons flying around.
Yeah, things start getting a little squirrely. But you can't always predict how a show is going to turn out either. Sure. I think if you show up and you've got canned banter and you do the exact same thing every time, and hey everybody, thanks for coming out today.
Where do you guys think the scene's going? Like, how do you think the scene is doing?
It's been really, for us over the last 2 years, it's been kind of an interesting period to be a band in Edmonton, because I think over the last 2 years we've seen it grow.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. The number of venues that are available to people, the venues that are taking chances on new bands, which when we very first started, we found kind of tough. I think there's more opportunity, and that's great. I mean, as people who, whether we played in a band or not, are people who love music, being in a city where you can see a rock and roll show almost any night of the week is pretty awesome.
I think Luke put it pretty well there. It's kind of in a transition state right now. And I personally feel there's another wave building up that maybe might be as high, might be as big as the one that was 10 years ago.